Thank you, Bill. I had not planned to speak on this topic and don't have site-specific knowledge of the problem. However, I'll call your attention to the CMP. Let's get back to where the commission has jurisdiction and has responsibility and authority, and talks about time to time designating. And I think the time is now. I think we've heard quite a bit of concern. I think Jason started the hearing well for where we should be, and unfortunately, we seem to have lost that focus about the extensive damage that's being done, about inherently destructive practices that cannot be separated from the responsible user group versus the irresponsible user group. Some of the stuff is inherently destructive, and we have to acknowledge that. By the same token, your CMP says there are areas that are inherently unsuitable due to their environmental sensitivity for these types of disturbance activities, recreational or otherwise. So given that the criteria are all laid out in your CMP, given that you have the responsibility and authority, given that it's been brought to your attention and it's an escalating problem, and given my final point is that how badly it's been bungled by the state DEP, and the department has so much baggage at this point that they can never be an honest broker or an honest regulator, that it becomes your burden. And I'm troubled that you're just seemingly limiting your role to providing recommendations to what DEP is going to do. Whereas if you read the CMP language in consultation with the DEP or other interested persons, DEP is not given any more power or authority or control of the process under your CMP than I am, than me. So let's not follow in the leadership footsteps of that DEP. And my final point is, in deference to your professional staff, I have been an incredibly aggressive critic of their activities that I felt were over the line in working with regulated entities. And I feel obligated now because I was given information very recently that I spent 2 hours last night reading, which shows a chronology of how this thing really emerged. And the conversations on my friends and my associates were just equally as bad as the lawyers for, South Jersey Gas in terms of their role with the DEP professionals. And there was not a public process. And it was just like the concerns I had about pre-application meetings and giving an applicant a leg up and forming relationships with staff that were inappropriate. The same thing was done here between my friends and associates and people I agree with and the state DEP officials. So I have to call that out with an equal condemnation that I called out other breaches of what I consider professionalism, good government, due process, and fairness to the public. And all that activity, in my view, disqualifies DEP in any further way from being the manager of this issue. And I would urge you, I'm assuming at some point in time, given that they were shared with me, and I feel an obligation for full transparency, that these things are going to become public and people are going to have some serious egg on their face. And therefore, to kind of get out in front of that issue, you again might want to use that as a rationale. Thank you.
If I could just speak to your point about CMP, we do understand what our power is under CMP. I appreciate you bringing it up. I don't want to overstate how I introduced this. I did say this was our opportunity to make a recommendation because we were specifically asked. So we are responding to that invitation from the DEP, but I do not disregard, and you are correct. We do have certain authority under the CMP to act independently.
And that's why following last time, following Ornazian's presentation,
Yeah.
I urged the commission to fill the void. And I was unaware that it was more than a void at that time. And now it's a 10-ton baggage on the DEP's back. And if I were the user groups that were shut out of that process, that I just disagreed with, but they had the same shot at the apple that I should have. And when I don't get that shot at the apple, and I see other people getting abused, I feel obligated to make that a point.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Tillman.
I'll be brief, because a lot of my points have been